So guys, we're at my parents' house and pulling into this driveway. Oh my goodness. This doesn't look good, but I just want to tell you, this looks so much better than when me and my dad got back from Ecuador. I came over here to drop off the suitcase that I took back for him on the plane, and I'm telling you, like, it was green. It was way worse, especially out here in the middle of the lawn. It was way worse. Now we had, again, an inch and a half of rain, but there was patches of white, and I'm talking about just like this. It was like this way out here in the middle, so it looks way better. Now he said, what do I need to put on a propiconazole? And he put some propiconazole, and he probably put way too much, but that's what he did last year and it worked. So I'm coming a little late. It's been literally a week since we've been back, and it does look better, and we have had rain, and likely he probably dragged the sprinklers out and has put it on it. But this is what I was trying to describe to you, and so you can see it could just be literally lack of water, and it's just slowly dying off in spurts. I'm not sure, because the fact that it looks this much better makes me think maybe it wasn't fungus. I'm not sure. So I just wanted to get it while it was, somebody requested it. I think Mr. David in the comments had said, let me see what your dad's yard looks like. And this is what it can look like. So it looks way better, and he's still got a ways to go. But I wanted to show this to you. And again, I think he's been overseeding with the Scott's Southern Gold Mix, as I've mentioned before, which I think is pretty much turf type tall fescue. But this is what he's dealing with, and as you can see, it's still, it don't look like brown patch now. Now it just looks like some of the die off. So I'm not sure. If he keeps watering it. If it was me and you have something similar like this, I would be hitting it with water during the day and seeing if it's going to come back in a couple days or not. And if it's not, that's when I would be hitting it with the curative rates of fungicide. So just wanted to show this to you. They're actually out of town. They're going to see my brother down in Wilmington, but I wanted to show this to you here in the evening so you can check out what his grass is looking like about 30 minutes away from my house. So just part of summer lawn care in North Carolina. What is going on, YouTube? It is Mr. Ferguson here. Once again, thank you guys for coming back for another video here in Central North Carolina. Saturday morning, we all kind of slept in. We're being lazy. Wife's up at the grocery store. My daughter's off with the neighbor going to the park. And so here I am talking about the lawn, going ahead and getting Monday's video recorded for you guys, and may get Wednesday's recorded here in a little bit as well. Because it's Saturday, I'm home. I think I want to put something down, so we may talk about that on Wednesday. But hope you're having a fantastic day. I haven't said this in a while. I'm just a DIY guy. I go by the labels, go by things. I'm learning from Pete, learning from Alan Hain. I am not a professional, so you can see my lawn, or you will be able to see my lawn in a minute, that I've been successful here in Central North Carolina. Your location may be different. Your grass type may be different. We deal mostly with fescue here, so sometimes I like to throw that into the videos for new people coming and watching. Thank you for clicking on the video today. Be sure to hit subscribe for updates. We are in the heat of summer right now. We're talking about and been talking about and showing you dealing with fungus. We've dealt with it in my lawn. We've been talking about fungicides. We've been talking about summer fertilization. So all these things you can check out in the history of my channel here if it's something that interests you. And we do something different here than a lot of other professional lawn care companies do. Again, I'm a normal guy in North Carolina, so I'm documenting my journey and try to get to the perfect lawn. We're pretty close, man. This summer, I was just talking about last video, we've reached a level that I've never really reached in summertime. Most summers, my lawn is dying off. And I've learned water is crucial, very crucial. I've learned about the fungicides. I've learned that we can apply nitrogen in summer if we're applying the other proper steps in place as well. So thank you for tuning in. Subscribe for the journey. If you're deciding you're trying to have a nice lawn where you live, tune in. If you're trying to do fescue especially, I'll try to show you what I'm doing. Try to do it within a reasonable budget, and we lean a lot upon GCI Turf, who's also located here in North Carolina. But today, guys, jumping into the video, with all of that said, I want to examine our pre-emergent. Pre-emergent, Mr. Ferguson, it's summer. It's literally July. Why the heck are we talking about pre-emergent? Well, let's think back to this past spring. What did we apply? So in my situation, for anybody new that hasn't been watching for the past year, for the first time ever, the lawn that is behind me is GCI seed. It's a mix of Spreader Elite. It's a mix of GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue, and I do have a little bit of Jonathan Green Dense Shade Mix along the edge of the wood line over here where it gets shady. For the first time back in September, we applied dithiopyr, what is how I pronounce it, dithiopyr pre-emergent to all of my side and backyard. I did not overseed for the first time in my lawn care journey. Mr. Ferguson and his lawn did not overseed in the backyard and in the side lawn. In the front yard, we put down some triple thread, a local blend of fescue, and that's why I've been concentrating this summer and in these hot months on water in the front yard, because we've already had a successful summer under the belt of the side yard and of this backyard back here. So that's where we did. So from fall, we pre-emergent. Why did we do pre-emergent? We did that to stop Poa annua, and we were highly successful. We didn't have hardly, if any, pre-emergent at all in the sections where we used pre-emergent, the dithiopyr. Now, when it came to spring, we put down prodiamine. That's what I have always used in the spring, and I go by my lawn care book, which I purchased from Alan Hain, the lawn care nut. So I use prodiamine. So some people said, Mr. Ferguson, you should flip that. You should use the prodiamine in the fall. You should use dithiopyr in the spring. And you can do that. You can do it either way, to my understanding. And by accident, I tested this. I did dithiopyr in the fall. It stopped Poa annua. It was not a major outbreak. We've talked about that. We've done several videos on that. If Poa annua is something you struggle with in your lawn, number one, a thick set of turf is the number one deterrent of Poa annua, and number two, pre-emergent when you can do it. And if not, we've even looked at ethofumicate and other products when we don't use pre-emergent. So that's a whole nother topic that we'll get into as we get closer to fall. But when in springtime, I came out here and I did my split apps of prodiamine pre-emergent. Why did we do that? Well, that's for the crabgrass. And so I did one application in, I believe, late February. Then you wait about 30, 45 days, and around the end of March, we're doing our second application of pre-emergent, and we did that in spring. Now, that's why we're talking about pre-emergent right now. How did we do with our measurements? How did you do with measuring out your prodiamine or your dithiopyr? If you did it in a backpack sprayer like myself, and you applied it to your lawn, what's your lawn looking like now in August? August 19th, 20th is when we're recording this. If we put too little pre-emergent, we may have some things popping up in our lawn. If we put too much pre-emergent, we'll be able to see if we have any crabgrass or any weeds pop up down the road at all, and really we won't know. But the main point of this video is, let's do a check. And I'm going to do a check as I film with you guys and we turn the camera around and look at my lawn. Let's do a check on our pre-emergent. Have you been looking at that since you've been out mowing in the past couple weeks? Have you checked to see, is that crabgrass? Why do I have crabgrass popping up? If we have crabgrass popping up, why is that happening? Was it our fault? Is it preventable? Let's talk about pre-emergent in July. I'm glad I'm able to turn the camera around because my shoulder is getting tired. So as mentioned to any of the new people, this is the 2-year-old. It's got one summer under its belt. We've made it through June. We're making it through July, and we got August coming up, which can still be a beast here in North Carolina. So let's go around front. And I was thinking about this as I was mowing. You can see the lines. I've taken my lawn striper off. I love to stripe this lawn. If you're a new person to the channel, I love to put the stripes on here. But I've learned, I think, that leaving that striper on lays and pushes down the fescue grass, and it can cause fungus. And we dealt with fungus, and we had to do some curative rates of fungicides, and I think we finally are on the other side of that. So I mentioned last video, if you missed it, I cut at 3.5 inches on my Honda mower. Everything is looking great. And as I walk, what you won't notice, what you will not see, is crabgrass. I apply what's called prodiamine. Here's a little picture of the bottle. I talk about it a lot. I've talked about it a lot in the past. This is called pre-emergent. We want to go ahead. Why are you talking about it now in July? Well, number one, as I just mentioned, I want you to do a spot check. For all of those that put pre-emergent down in the spring, we need to check our work, don't we? I need to check my work. And as I walk around, I'm not seeing any any crabgrass whatsoever, because the amounts that we put down, and I would have to actually go back and watch the pre-emergent video for prodiamine again to remember, because I lose focus so much. But on the prodiamine bottle, when you look at the label, it tells you this amount of prodiamine will cover you for 2.5 or 3 months if you use this much per 1,000 square feet. And so when we times that by how many 1,000 square feet we have in our backpack sprayer in our lawn, it should equal out to where we're covered for most of the summer. My pre-emergent, I expect most of my pre-emergent to begin to run out probably in August, mid-August, and I may be seeing some weeds pop up at that point. Right now, as you see in this camera view, I don't have anything. And so we don't spray, I don't spray these bad boys with pre-emergent, but I noticed right here on the corner, look at that, we got some crabgrass right here. And so he's right on the corner of the bed of rocks that doesn't look very pretty. We got the sidewalk. I got my little seed experiments I've been playing around with here, nothing to write home about. And right on the corner, we got some weeds, and we got some crabgrass that's sprouted up. Now, clearly, I missed this with my pre-emergent. I didn't get close enough. I didn't spray this properly, and this is coming up. And clearly back here, you can see weeds are popping up back here. Again, I don't spray any of this bed with pre-emergent. Now, if I would, you know, obviously it may and you know, harm the flowers. I'm not sure, but it would hopefully stop all these weeds for a period of time. But only right here, this is the only spot so far that I've seen where I've got crabgrass coming up in my yard, and it's because probably I didn't spray this properly with the pre-emergent. So it got me thinking, hell yeah, we do this split app of prodiamine every year. How often do we check and see when does it run out? So with that coming up, it tells me, number one, either the barrier for my pre-emergent that I did put right here was so weak it wore out and the crabgrass overtook it, or I totally missed this section. So very short, very sweet. Walk your lawn, check it out. Are you seeing crabgrass in the middle of your lawn? How is your pre-emergent doing? And that's what I want to get you thinking. If you're able to pre-emergent in the fall, that's one thing, but let's evaluate our spring pre-app, the amount we put down. We had there was several people like, Mr. Ferguson, you're not doing it right. You're not putting enough. You're putting too much. And I had a lot of comments this past year about how I wasn't doing it right. And I just want to show you, like, I'm here now in late July and I don't have an issue with weeds. That's another thing. I was going to make a video on it, but we'll just throw this in. I don't make a lot of weed videos. Why? If some of you are struggling with weeds, you're not using pre-emergents. That's the difference. And I don't make a lot of weed videos. I have Speed Zone. I use it when I need to. It's not to say I never get weeds in this lawn, but I don't have a lot of problems with weeds because I use the pre-emergents. I use the dithiopyr I use in the fall. I'm using the prodiamine in the spring, and I don't have a weed problem until maybe very late August when we're maybe getting ready to overseed or do pre-emergent again. Here's the other factor, and write this down. Remember this. If you're in North Carolina, this is important to you. We talked about it, and I remembered it, and I'm not going to forget this year, and I want to remind you right now, and I'm going to say it several times before we get to the fall. According to NC State, 1 September is when Poa annua begins to germinate. You can't see it with your physical eye, can't see it with the natural eye. Poa annua begins to germinate in our soil according to NC State average 1 September. So be aware of that. You know how I remember? Because we put ours down about 14 September last year, the dithiopyr, or maybe it was the 20th around September. And I was like, crap. So Poa, I was like, we're going to see, did some of that start on 1 September and I missed it because I put my pre-emergent down too late? We're going to find out. Well, it turned out to be okay with the dithiopyr in fall, but keep that in mind. So that's another thing. Poa annua is going to start very soon, 1 September. We've got the rest of July, we got August, and then that's when Poa starts churning in our soil. Remember what they were talking about. When we cut real short in this cooler weather, the sun can pierce the ground, and that begins to germinate some of the Poa annua seeds that may be lying dormant in your lawn. So evaluate your spring pre-emergent application. If you went too low on your dosage, you may be seeing a lot of weeds in your yard, and now you've got to deal with that. Well, those are warm season weeds, right? Meaning they're summer weeds. They're going to die off on their own when the temperatures begin to fall and cool. But I recommend Speed Zone. And again, we don't do a lot of videos because we go by the label of the prodiamine and it covers us. We don't have to worry about weeds. And a thick lawn is always going to prevent most weeds in itself. Let's look at our pre-emergent application that we did. If you're like, what are you talking about? You need to look up some of go to my little search bar on my channel, type in prodiamine, type in dithiopyr, type in pre-emergent, learn about them. It will stop the weeds before they ever grow. It's a little barrier that goes on your soil. You can apply it via liquid. You can even buy granular, and they sell it at Yard Mastery, GCI Turf, Lowe's. I think my dad buys it local. He buys the granular and puts it out. It helps. It is worth the trouble. It's worth the time to do that and to do it properly, especially if you don't need to overseed your yard. If your yard looks pretty thick like mine, what's the point of throwing more seed down? Cost, more money, more seed. You don't need more seed. You need to protect what you have. Let's do some prodiamine. Let's do some dithiopyr. Let's protect it to stop the POA that's going to start invading here or start growing very soon in 1 September. So I hope that makes sense. So do a check on your pre-emergent. Grade yourself. If I'm seeing weeds in July, I did too little pre-emergent. It did not last. I didn't do such and such per 1,000 square feet like I thought I did because I got weeds popping up everywhere. My pre-emergent was not working. My spring pre-emergent is failing because I see crabgrass. I can tell you, if you are seeing crabgrass in your lawn, quinclorac is a ingredient that helps to kill it. It will turn it purple, and then you kind of got to pull it out. Crabgrass don't just really shrivel up and die unless I think you round up it. When you use the quinclorac, it attacks it, it turns it purple, and the purple for mature crabgrass, you will then want to pull it out by hand. So longer video. I'm sorry I was a little lengthy on this. There's a lot of meat here to this content, but evaluate yourself pre-emergent wise. Make sure you're set up for pre-emergent, or you're already asking yourself, am I going to overseed? Am I losing so much grass this summer I need to overseed again this fall? Or can I go pre-emergent? We want to go pre-emergent so that we don't have to constantly keep overseeding. We want to have mature grass that's established and deeply rooted. So God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in. How is your pre-emergent doing? Let me know below. Are you seeing crabgrass? Are you seeing a lot of weeds? And if you're new and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? We're going to continue to talk about pre-emergent, Poa annua, crabgrass, and all that coming soon. Don't freak out. You're like, well, I just got into this. I don't know what you're talking about. I was laying on the couch watching football in fall. I didn't even touch my lawn. We're going to help you out. We're going to get you there. So God bless. We hope to see you on Wednesday with another lawn care video from Central North Carolina. God bless.